Nathan Weller, Pullman City Council.
Wonderful. I think I got everybody. Oh, Max, I didn't get you.
Max Warnbrenner, Palouse Land Trust. And I think it's important in the record to acknowledge Lee Espy's incredible mustache. I think that should be in writing somewhere.
I'm glad that we got that on the record, Max. Thank you for that. Lee and incredible are words that don't often get to
Didn't
live
think we
on
were
the
gonna
same
talk about
line.
this. Yeah.
Guys.
Okay. Excellent. I think that covered everybody. Oh,
I'm filling in for Bryce today. I'm Scott Sumner, Moscow City Council.
thanks for coming, Scott. All right, moving on to the second item on our agenda, which is the approval of our February meeting minutes that Mike distributed. Move to approve. I've got a motion from Chad.
Second.
Got a second. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? All right, the meeting minutes for February stand approved. Next item on our agenda is any announcements anyone might have. All right, hearing none, we are going to move forward to any public comments that are not on for items not on today's agenda. Any takers? All right. I'm gonna keep this one right tight then. New business. We don't have any new business today, but we do have some presentations and discussions, which is our next item on the agenda. And so we're going to start with our outreach program update from Erin.
Thank you. So it's going to be short and sweet. We did two big outreach events. One just yesterday, it was actually really cool. It was our Fix the Leak workshop at Layton County Musco Public Library. And direct plumbing solutions came on their own accord. You did not have to give them any money. So if you're ever looking to, see if you see someone from Direct Plumbing Solutions in town, they stayed for an hour and a half, did some great presentations. And it was just really cool. There was no financial incentive for them to stay. So that was really great. It was well attended, and hopefully, and the library wants to have that be an annual thing, which is really great. We're hoping to maybe bring that to Neal Public Library maybe in some capacity next year. And then Mike and I did the State of Washington Water Research Center water management on the Palouse Basin Forum a couple weeks ago prior to our research colloquium at WSU, and that was really well attended. That was our first formal engagement with the State of Washington Water Research Center, from my understanding, in a while. And that's kind of the Washington version of iWeary. Is that kind of fair to say?
Yep.
In some ways. Really well attended, a lot of academic engagement there, and hopefully we'll be able to come back next year and give them an update on the basin. So those are our two big outreach events that we had this month. We've got a couple as we go up into April for Earth Day, but we did get our first video posted on Instagram to Tyler. It's very well viewed. It had 1,200 views. And then you had over 60% engagement with non-followers. So that's kind of the whole point of those exercises anyway. So we'll be rolling out more of those soon, hopefully in a quicker time now that we've got one under our belt. So those are all my updates.
Yeah, so we've got a couple, Mike and Aaron are scheduled to do the next two in our video series. We'd identified on the communication subcommittee a series of common questions and answers that we get a lot, and that we wanted to have just kind of that pithy, quick hitting, here's the answer to that question thing. And yeah, we learned a lot through the first one, that we were able to see the engagement time, and really it is shorter. We're trying to really keep these super concise and really hit on those hard hitting questions that we all get all the time, so that we have a nice resource to direct people to. So we've got the next two lined up for filming.
We actually just filmed them. So
You
Mike
did it
filmed
today?
Or did it today, Mike did it Tuesday.
Okay, perfect. So Corey with the city of Moscow is supporting that. He's our audio video expert and does a really good job with the production on those. And so we've got all of them lined up. We'll have and the goal is that once we have those, we're kind of rolling them out in an intuitive order with the questions that we often get. And then as new things come up, then it'll give us an opportunity to further flesh out that library in a way that we can send people a link if they've got questions. And so, yeah, that's going to be a good effort. And then, yeah, I talked to Kelly today about the plumbing, the Fix a Leak event. She was super encouraged. That's great to see.
They love that we come back and stuff. They were I went to one before last year about Palouse Prairie. So people that are come back, which is great.
Yeah,
It's cool.
excellent. The other water conservation update that I just wanted to provide is that we've got the update to the city of Moscow's water conservation plan that we plan on taking to city council next month during Earth Month. So we'll be taking that forward to city council. Okay, our next, does anyone have any questions for Aaron?
Oh, sorry, excuse me, one more shout out. Luke and Idaho Rural Water wanted to do an online collaboration, and they were able to kind of highlight the Palouse Basin, kind of going back to what you first mentioned about us being a very unique example for cooperation. Luke approached us and asked if we wanted to do kind of like a social media collaboration, and they posted about our Palouse Basin to, followers that might not have been familiar with us, and it was a very well trafficked post that we could have been a part of. So just share some appreciation to Luke for able to do that collaboration statewide.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
All right. Any other questions for Aaron? Okay, we are going to move on to an update from HDR about our water alternative study.
Yeah, so work is advancing on the technical front. We just got out of the technical subcommittee meeting, so I might steal that thunder just to acknowledge that a lot of really good discussion in that meeting. Some of the key topics that we're working through right now include re-examining the supplemental supply target, that value of 10 CFS that's been quoted. Won't go into details here, but looking at what makes sense, both from a technical perspective and to support communication of the project as we go along here. So long story short, looking at really focusing on like more of a 100-year time horizon as opposed to maybe just a 50-year time horizon, which is what that 10 CFS was premised on originally. So to be continued in the discussions with the technical subcommittee, working on that. And then also the evaluation of available water supply and seasonality on the Clearwater River. And so looking at probabilities for when flow is available and what that flow amount is, months when that diversion is available, and what that would mean for infrastructure sizing if we can't divert year round. And so we're right in the mix on all that. Again, updated and discussed with the technical subcommittee over the past hour. So I think the main message here too is the cadence of that work is picking, the pace is picking up. I think the cadence of interaction with the technical subcommittee, we might look to increase that cadence a little bit so that we can really keep moving on that. So I think that's the primary update. Also gave a briefing at the research colloquium last week. I think that went well, was well received, good dialogue, good discussion. So I think those are the highlights.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Does anyone have questions for Jeff? All right. Yeah, we'll look forward to the updates from the technical subcommittee. Moving on to number 8, we did have the research colloquium that Jeff mentioned. That was really productive. I was super happy with the outcome of that. We had a lot of the right people in the room. It was well attended. There was really good participation. I thought the presentations were top notch. That was among the best series of presentations on the basin that I've sat through in now more than 10 years doing this. And so I really appreciated everybody's participation with that. And that's something that will continue. Just as a reminder, that's kind of working in a parallel path. We have our stakeholder engagement group that really tries to engage with the community broadly, with folks that are in key sectors that we really need to focus on getting the word out in. And then specifically the research colloquium is trying to keep our academics. We have such a wealth of people who have a very specific expertise in this area, and we want to stay engaged with them as well. And so that's the real focus of that research colloquium, is to be able to update that group on where we're at, what we're working on, and have them be thinking about it. With a lot of our current research, it was, down there at the conference this week, they were talking about a lot of this cutting edge technology that they're using to analyze these different basins. And it was just so interesting and gratifying to be like, oh yeah, we did a seismic study in our basin. Oh yeah, we looked at noble gases in our basin. Oh yeah, we're doing PFAS and CFC. Like in our little basin, there's just so many great examples of research happening, and largely that's because of that wealth of research that's available to us. And so also just to give them the context of what we're working on so that they can apply their trade to it and say, oh, you know what, I'm actually working on something that may fold into this nicely. And so that was good. Mike, go ahead.
I do have a question. I don't know if this is appropriate
Sure.
or not, but I understand you're looking at studying getting clear water into the aquifer.
Mhm.
And where you going to take that from? Rorschach or?
No, from the Clearwater River is like, that's what the study is doing now. We're looking at location. The location of diversion hasn't been finally identified. That's part of what this study looks at, is potential locations for diversion. I think it's more likely that it comes from the Clearwater River than Rorschach if I was just opining directly from the river, but that's all just, it's a real preliminary 10% study that we're doing right now.
Because look on a map, going from Rorschach to say Troy, as opposed from going from Lewiston to Moscow, whatever, it's about the same distance, about 20 miles.
Yeah.
So when you start at 700-800 feet elevation advantage,
Start to make a difference.
it make a big difference.
Yeah, that's part of what's being looked at in the current study.
So they're looking at that.
Yeah. Point of diversion is one of the main things we're looking at.
So how big a pipe?
That's, I mean, if we can have a side conversation on that project specifically.
I
Yeah.
didn't know those questions.
Yeah.
I just-
We have a lot of information on our website too.
Yeah, there's a ton of information on the website.
Yep.
Yeah. And happy to send you a bunch of it too. And also to schedule, if you want to have a specific conversation on the alternative, more than happy to engage on that
Oh,
too.
okay.
All right.
You want my email?
What's that?
You want my email?
Better if I give you mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other communication updates?
No, but I just have thought about the colloquium last week, and I don't think I would do anything different.
Yeah.
I think that
Great.
we really hit it out of the park. So I'm very happy with that as well.
We compiled all of the feedback from those small groups into the document, so next time we meet with cons, we can kind of go over
Yeah.
those key
Yeah.
areas, like what the technical gaps are, all those feedback. So.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we've got some data to look at from that.
Good.
Thanks, Aaron, for doing that.
All right. Moving on to the technical subcommittee, Jeff.
I don't know that I have anything to add that Jeff Hansen didn't already cover, other than I was gonna mention that parallel to HCR's effort, Lana also looked at some of the same kind of calculations and basically was arriving at the same general
That's
conclusion.
encouraging.
So it's good to have, wanted to shout out to Lana for her efforts there and
Yeah.
kind of checking. It's good to have a check in the
I
process.
call it high quality QC.
Yeah,
Yep. Additionally, the technical subcommittee discussed a question from the city of Genesee. So a few years ago, PBAC funded a transducer for their new well to get data. And that thing's never been very good. And they suggested that if they do decide to replace it, maybe PBAC would share the cost, and the cost estimate is $3,900. And right now, we're not recommending that PBAC do that. And I don't think that would be poorly received or anything, but that's just a discussion that we had. So I'll get back with the Public Works Director, Dustin is his name, and relay that. And then if there's any further conversations, I'll let you know.
Just to summarize, we don't have to rehash the whole discussion, was the recommendation from technical just premised on the fact that we just didn't feel like we were getting that valuable information that was going to inform anything we're going to try and do?
Steve could elaborate more, but we got pretty noisy data from day one, and then it got worse from there.
Yeah.
And rather than continue to spend money to try to, but we were hoping just having another data point when we could continue to pursue. The question we were trying to answer is, to what degree is the Genesee Aquifer connected to us, if at all?
Yeah.
There may be other ways to get at that, so I think we've kind of exhausted that outlet.
Okay.
We're gonna keep our eyes open for other opportunities.
Steve, anything you want to add to that?
Just one thing, and that's, I seem to remember that Daniel Sturgis volunteered that IDWR would be happy to put one of their loggers in the well if we don't end up being able to keep participating with Genesee. So maybe Daniel could follow up on that a little bit and see if that would work.
That sounds good. Mike, can you make a note for us to communicate with Michelle and Daniel and see if that's something they're interested in?
Yeah, I'll follow up on that. Thank you, Steve.
All right. Jeff, anything else from technical?
That was it. Thank you.
Does anyone have questions for Jeff and the technical subcommittee? All right, moving on to finance subcommittee. The first thing I want to do is just announce that grateful to have Lee with us, and we're gonna formally recognize Lee as the chair of the finance subcommittee. He's accepted taking over as chair. You'll recall Rusty Vineyard served in that role for quite a while. And then Lee has stepped in and graciously kept the ball rolling for us in that regard. And so we'll formally recognize Lee as the chair of that committee, and we'll keep that one moving on. That's one that's behind the scenes but critical. It's been a lot. It makes all of our lives a lot easier and smoother when we've got folks helping us with that side of the house, and we really appreciate it. Anything else, Lee?
No, I mean, the stewardship of the funding looks really good. We do have some growing fund balances just because HDR has spent less than expected, but that's just because they're really getting going now.
Yep.
And so that will roll over. And then other than that, we're just expecting a payment from Alta soon. And there was a little bit of expenditure based on the colloquium last week, but really nothing major to report.
We're tracking, you'll recall that we have money both from the Idaho Water Resource Board and PBAC committed to our current efforts on the alternate study. The Idaho Water Resource Board had committed $182,500. We'll expend up to 90% of that. We're required contractually to hold 10% reserve. And so we're tracking that. And when we get to that 90% expenditure, then rather than going to the Water Resource Board for reimbursement, the rest will go to PBAC for reimbursement to the city of Moscow. So we'll start to see those bills come in. We're getting closer to the 90%. If, at the current burn rate, I'm expecting, especially since we've got technical ramping up significantly right now, it'll probably be sometime early summer, I'm guessing, that we'll exhaust the Water Resource Board's funding, and then we'll be sending the reimbursement request to PBAC instead of to the Water Resource Board. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Okay. Other reports and announcements. Oh man, I'm gonna set a record.
Mr. Chair, I could just speak on a little matter from Latah County if you'd like.
Yeah, Tom, please.
So we typically resolve all of our water rate protests and communications with the landowners that are, applying for those water rights that we feel are excessive. We usually get those negotiated down to the level that we're happy with. That hasn't happened in two recent water applications. One is a draw from the Palouse River. And that one is contested by several protestants, including the tribe. And we have a settlement conference. Hopefully we'll resolve it by then on April 9th. And that's coming up with the Idaho Department of Water Resources. We'll see how that goes. The tribe is not interested in the level of water that the applicant is interested in taking out of the Palouse River, and the Palouse River doesn't have enough water even flowing through it in some parts of the year to meet the water right. So it's oversubscribed. And then the other one is a application for a water use on the top of Moscow Mountain on Saddle Ridge Road. And there are also multiple protestants for that one as well. And we don't have that settlement meeting scheduled yet, but it's going to happen sometime in the next few months. So we'll let you know how that goes with both of those.
Great, Tom. We really appreciate you guys' vigilance on that. I do have one other announcement, which is kind of a non-announcement, I suppose. We have been in communication on the adjudication of the Palouse Basin. I think as most people are aware, the Palouse Basin is going through the Palouse, we're going through the adjudication of the Palouse River Basin. And that's been going on for almost 10 years now, I think.
Yeah.
Quite a while. And it's the main thing that's being worked on now is the Nez Perce tribal claims within the basin. And so the way that that ends up happening is that you've got the federal government that will represent the tribe, because they're the ones who hold the treaties with the tribe, and then the state represents the other water users in the state. There had been a meeting scheduled. Initially there had been a proposal from the feds, from the tribe through the feds. The state of Idaho had just rejected that outright without comment, which kind of put everything on hold. It just kind of means that the two sides were really, really far apart in what they thought should happen. Then the state of Idaho came back with a proposal which seemed to indicate that it might be thawing and the ball might get rolling again. And we had a meeting scheduled, all parties meeting for April 2nd. That meeting ended up getting canceled once the feds got a hold of the state's proposal. Must have been something in there that they thought made it not worth having a meeting. So I guess the long and short of it is it's what we thought might be starting up again sounds like it's not. It's still dragging on. So for us as a group, the main thing that we want to keep an eye on is there were pretty extensive claims on all of the surface waters in the basin and some groundwater claims that could have an impact on future projects. Especially some of those that we have in what we ended up calling Alternative 5, which was the first alternative that we really took a hard look at, which was the smaller water sources within the basin. It could have an extensive impact on what water may be available for smaller scale projects in the future. So yeah, that's all I have on that. Does anyone else have any other reports or announcements? Okay, well, our next meeting is going to be not March 19th, April.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's earlier in April.
April 16th.
Yep. Sorry about that.
April 16th. And so we will look forward to seeing everyone then. I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, second, done. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Maybe a record.
That was close. 27.
Maybe a record.
I told Bryce I only had 28 minutes.
I like tiny meetings.
Got it covered.
Do you?
So you have a card?
Yeah, I do. There's one for you. Oh, unless I gave them all away. Let's see.